start multiplying polynomials. And so we have a way of doing this called FOIL. First, outside, inside, last. And I'm going to show you what that means. So when we are foiling, what we want to do is we want to make sure each piece of these two polynomials gets multiplied with a piece in the other one. So what it means is that we're going to do the first. So what's the first of this parentheses multiplied by the first in the second parentheses? So 3n times n. So 3n times n. Well, that means that we have two n's, so it becomes n squared. So this becomes 3n squared, because n times n would be n squared. So we just write it like that. And then outside, so 3n is the outside of this one and the very outside of the second set. So we have 3n times 3. So we have 3n times 3. And when we multiply, we're multiplying like by like. So it's 3 times 3 and then n times whatever other n's are there. So in this case, it just becomes 3 times 3, which is 9. And then we add that n in. So it becomes n to the 9. So we have plus n9. Then we have inside, so the inside number of this parentheses times the inside number of this parentheses. So 2 times n just becomes 2n. And then the last, so the last of this parenthesis times the last of that parenthesis. So 2 times 6. Once we have this, we need to look and see if there's anything that we can combine. And usually what we can combine is right in the middle. They both have the same last name, so it becomes 9n plus 2n gives us 11n. And we just bring the rest of the equation down. So the answer would be 3n squared plus 11n plus 6. So remember, FOIL. First, outside, inside, last. So let's look at this next one. So we're going to start with the first. 2x times 2x. So remember, we're going to multiply like by like. So 2 times 2 is 4. And then x times x becomes x squared. Okay, then outside, so 2x times negative 3. So that becomes 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, and then x, because there's no other x's to multiply by. Then we have 3 times 2x, so 3 times 2 is positive 6, and then we have that x. And then last, so the last of this parentheses times the last of the second parentheses. So we have 3 times negative 3 becomes negative 9. Then we look for anything we can combine. So the 6x and 6x can be combined. So we have negative 6 plus 6 gives us 0. So they actually cancel each other out. So it becomes 4x squared minus 9. Last one we're going to FOIL before I'm going to give you a chance to try it on your own. So first, 3p times p. So 3, and then p times p. Remember when we multiply our variables together, we square it. So if we were to say p times p times p, well, that would be p cubed, p to the third, because there are 3 p's we're multiplying by. And we'll get some more practice multiplying variables as well. So 3p, so we have our outsides now, so 3p times negative 1. So negative 1 times 3 becomes negative 3. And then we need to add its last name, negative 3p. Inside, so the inside of this parenthesis times the inside of this parenthesis. So negative 3 times p just becomes negative 3p. And then last, the last of this parenthesis times the last of this parenthesis. So negative 3 times negative 1 becomes positive 3. Then we just look for something to combine. We have negative 3p and negative 3p. So it's 3 3p squared. And then negative 3p and negative 3p becomes negative 6p, because negative 3 and minus 3 is negative 6, and then plus 3. So this would be our answer. So go ahead and try these practice problems on your own. So when we do these practice problems, remember our FOIL. First, outside, inside, last. Write that on the top of your paper so you don't forget. So let's go ahead and start with this one. So we want to do our first of this parentheses times the first of this parentheses. So v times 3v. So we have 3, and then v times v is v squared. There are two v's that we're multiplying by. Then we have our outside, so the outside of this parenthesis times the outside of this parenthesis, so v times negative 3 becomes negative 3v. Then our insides, so negative 1 times negative 3v becomes negative 3b. And then we do our last, so negative 1 times negative 3 gives us positive 3. And then we need to look and see if there's any like terms that we can combine, and we have negative 3v and negative 3v. So we have 3v squared, we're just bringing that down. And when we combine negative 3v minus 3v, we get negative 6v plus 3. All right, so let's look at this next one. So first, 2n times 2n. So we have 2 times 2 is 4. N times n is n squared. Then we do our outsides. So 2n times 1 gives us positive 2n. Insides, 3 times 2n. So 3 times 2 will give us 6. And then we have an n added on. And then our last, 3 times 1 gives us positive 3. Looking for things we can combine, we have 2n and 6n. So that becomes 4n squared plus 8n, because 2 plus 6 is 8, plus 3. All right, last practice problem. First, so 2x times 3x will give us 2 times 3 is 6, and then x times x is x squared. We have 2 x's. All right, outside, so 2x plus 3. So 2 times 3 is 6, and then we have that x. All right, inside, so negative 3 and positive 3x. So negative 3 times 3 gives us negative 9, and then we have that x there. And then our last, so negative 3 times positive 3 will give us negative 9. Looking to see if there's anything we can combine, we have positive 6x and negative 9x. So we have 6x squared. When we combine those, we get negative 3x minus 9. And that's the end of our polynomial unit.